Good day, dear friends. So much to discuss and to bring you up to speed regarding. Let me say a hearty hello and a hi-yo silver and a welcome to you and yours. Hoping you are doing great time. Hope you are doing well. I hope you are trying to negotiate all that is going through. And let me tell you something, you need me. You need me so much more than ever. You need me more than ever to, again, negotiate what is happening right now, because it is tough. Believe me when I tell you this, it is tough. It is nuts. It is crazy, absolutely crazy. And what I'd like for you to do is to understand a couple of things and recognize some things which are important. And that I think is important for you also to understand that what we are looking at right now is something which I think is so critical. So very critical. And what it is, I think, is that you are absolutely, positively, without any frame of reference as to what is going on. I'd like for you to put yourself into perspective, into our perspective, into today, to ask me some questions. And let me bring some questions as to Epstein, what's going on, and will there finally be these much promised and much ballyhooed, I guess we'd call them indictments, the upending of the deep state. Is that happening? Well, we will find out. I welcome you. Get on board right now. Join the love train. But before we begin, we have begun. What am I saying? In addition to what we've already begun doing, you must understand and grasp a couple of things which are critical here. And that is simply this. First and foremost, dear friend, there needs to be the understanding. There needs to be this reminder that the need for, we talked about this for, emergency food and preparations for countless disasters that we haven't even been able to grasp. It is still there. Don't think that the coast is clear. And with that in mind, please take note of the following. Let me ask you a question. What happens when the trucks stop? Think about this. Trucks, the trucks that bring your food, and then when one store closes because of a riot or ransomware hit or a hurricane or even manufactured weather. Oh yeah, we've talked about that. What happens when all of a suddenly the entire supply chain collapses like dominoes? What happens then? We've seen it happen, and it doesn't take much. And that's the thing you've got to think about. A trucker strike, a cyber attack, some EMP, some Carrington class disaster, a city shut down by violence. It only takes one spark for shelves to go empty fast. And when that happens, and when that moment hits, you either have what you need or you don't. And that's why I am telling you, I want you to go to preparedwithlionel.com. Our trusted friends at My Patriot Supply, they're offering unbelievable deals right now. You've got to see deals on emergency food kits that could save your life and your sanity. Over 2,000 calories per day for 3 months of food per person, shelf stable for 25 years in any kind of combinations you want, and made to taste like actual meals, not cardboard, not some military MRE. These kits aren't just insurance, they're peace of mind. So go to preparewithlionel.com. Secure your kit, secure your future. Preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com, because when the world breaks down, the prepared don't panic. Now, my friend, let me ask you a couple of things here, which is critical for you to understand and grasp and the like. Do any of you have any actual faith? Faith that there could possibly be what we call, sometimes laughingly, justice? Is there any of you fine folks who believe that there could actually be this notion of justice, where So we're not just hearings, but that people enjoy and feel the same degree of I don't want to say lawfare, but the same the same accelerated form of justice, if you will, that Trump has felt. Do any of you feel this even possible? And moreover, the real question is it possible? Is it absolutely, theoretically, absolutely possible for there to be this thing called justice? Is it even remotely possible? And what is this talk about? They're going to be inviting Ghislaine Maxwell to do what precisely? So my question to you is simply this. Do you believe it's possible? Number one. And that's the first question. The first critical question is, do you believe it's possible? Do you believe it's even remotely possible that there is that first of all, and we'll take the first aspect, this thing called justice? Do you think so? Do you think it's possible? Do you think there exists the remotest of possibilities that we could actually see the Russian hoax not just exposed, but that there exists an actual case, exists an actual cause where they, all of us are somehow brought to the realization where maybe somebody has committed some type of an offense, some type of conspiracy, where they might very well be brought to justice. Do you believe that's even possible? Mango says no. Toe says doog. Do you? Accountability. The first question is simply this. Yes. You must be able to show, I promise you, there is a case to be made. I promise you there is a how do I say this? I promise you there is a series of charges that could exist, that could be brought, that might be brought, that makes sense, that theoretically could be brought, provided statutes of limitations are still in existence. And I think that can be done. Many of these conspiracies are continuing. Let me explain. If you and I are involved in something, some type of nefarious activity, if you and I are involved in something and we're doing some, whatever it is, normally it's done and it's over with, and it was in the past, and that's it. Not a lot of moving parts, not a lot of moving, not a lot of co-conspirators and the like. But if you and I were involved in something that's a little bit more complicated, let's say we were involved in not only an event, some type of conspiratorial activity, but something that occurred, something that we are constantly trying to re-up, to refinish, to refocus, to continue. And then we are constantly reviving something that we're reviving, we're replenishing, we're refeeding, you know what I mean? We're doing this. I do it. I'm with Brennan. I'm with Comey. I'm with Hillary. We meet. And we're continuing the conspiracy by covering it up, by doing what have you. Then, my friend, then the operation could be had. You would have to have somebody in the Justice Department actually willing to handle this. Who would it be? the majority, the vast, vast majority of people in the Justice Department are career types. These are career people who find themselves and have found themselves in a, I guess you might want to say, in a world of career politics where they've got to realize that there is an ecosystem. I hate to use that term, but there are people who are going to say, I am not going to go against the very people who are going to control my destiny. So you need special prosecutors, people who are not themselves subject to this particular concern. You've got to find people somewhere who are themselves, and this is important, who are themselves not in any way concerned with rubbing people the wrong way, stepping on toes and the like. That's the biggest problem. You see, Pam Bondi and others came along, and they are brand new to this, and they're not being taken seriously. There are people who are watching her and kind of sort of, well, laughing. They don't consider her to be anything to worry about, okay? They don't consider her to be somebody that they have to be concerned with. Because after all, they're just new. They're going to ride this out. Pam Bondi has been so hurt and sidelined, even though nobody is saying this. She's been really seriously affected by this. Maybe not psychologically, but in terms of her efficacy, it's absolutely evident, and you can see it. And she recognizes it, and people recognize it, and I recognize it, and you recognize it, and we all see it. So who is going to handle this specifically? So is it possible? You betcha. And even if there is a little likelihood of there being any kind of actual hardcore incarceration, no Leavenworth or Supermax or any of that other kind of stuff, it nonetheless is possible for there to be at least something which gets enough attention where people say, you know what, this was pretty good. They made an impact. And seriously, you might, for somebody to be, unless you had a judge, and that's another thing too, you're going to expect to find somebody who is in the system long enough, in the system, that would actually be, even though they're federally appointed for life, this is a cabal. This is a hornet's nest, a rat's nest. This is a coven, a convocation. This is a conspiracy of sorts of people who have been there for so long that good luck trying to find somebody who would be willing to risk everything to say, I'm going to put James Comey in prison, but short of that, to prosecute him, you're going to have somebody who is going to come after James Comey, Brennan, and the like. Okay. Now, the best example, I think, is Hillary. The problem is they've already dropped a lot of the charges. Comey, interestingly enough, announced them. Remember the time when James Comey announced these charges to the whole world? And then, interestingly enough, people are saying, why is he doing this? Why? Why are you doing it? And at the time, and I agreed, you don't announce this unless you're going to bring charges. You don't tell somebody, well, here's what we would have charged, but we're deciding not to. I say, no, that's not the way to do it. Say, why are you doing this? Nobody really knows. We don't know. We don't know where this even came from or what's happening. So that's the first thing. But the question is, yes, it can be done. But the issue is, where are you going to get this? Where are you going to get this zealous prosecution? Who? You're cutting your own throat. We're talking about decades of entrenched deep state shadow government that is not going to cotton to this. But it would be delightful, I tell you, to see something as great as this. It would be something so wonderful. I mean it, to see something happen like this. It would be something beyond beautiful to see this happening. But I don't know if that's going to happen. That I don't know. I don't know. Now let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. What do you believe is going to happen regarding Epstein? What is it that you want to hear? Give me an idea, because I don't think I understand what it is that people really want. And I mean that. I don't want to be stupid here, but I don't know what is it that you really want to hear? What is it that you truly, actually, really want to see? What is it? Smiling Sue says the truth. I don't know what that means. I'm not trying to be cute. Okay. You want just the truth? What truth do you want? What do you want? Fever Pitch says everything. You got to be specifically. What is it that you want? What do you think is not being held? Let me ask you something. Do you believe there has been ever any evidence whatsoever from anyone that there has been some type of, I guess you'd call it, extortion, blackmail, based upon evidence gathered, gleaned, or collected from the Epstein group? Do you think that's possible? Do you? Have you ever, do you think that, and let me say this again, do you think there is evidence of anybody who says, yes, let me tell you what's happening? I am president of such and such. I found myself in the position of having been, found my way to this. I was told by somebody from the Israeli government or the American government or somebody, I was told that I had better pretty much agree to speak up, or else they were going to ruin my life and to show people pictures of me with young girls and the like. And it was done. It was done specifically. It was done when I was at the Epstein Island or whatever it was. Do you think that exists anywhere? It's important that you tell me that. Do you think there exists somebody somewhere who would be able to say, yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly what happened? Do you think so? I don't think there's any evidence of that whatsoever. None. Do you hear what I'm saying? I don't think there's any evidence of this whatsoever. Now, how can that be? Simple. Simple. The question is simply this. Where do you think, where do you think these people exist, and where would they come forward? How would you prove there was? How do you, the basis for this, what we believe to be true, is that Epstein was a kind of a honeypot extortion organization. That's what it was. Not just trafficking, but that he was getting women, using them, and using compromising information to gather and to secure evidence of an advantage. Do you believe there's any evidence, and how would you bring that up? Who would testify to that? Who? Number one, who? You need somebody to say, yes, I was a victim of extortion. If Ghislaine says, we see that guy, let's say Bill Gates. Again, I'm not saying he did it, but I'll just give you a name just for the sake of it. We extorted this out of him, his money, because Bill Gates did this, and we believe in this. And Bill Gates says, well, I don't know anything about that. In order for you to, there's one thing about blackmail. You can't admit you were blackmailed, because you have to tell people what it is that you were blackmailed with, about, and for. And if you do that, you're basically giving up the goods, giving up the, you know what I'm saying? So consequently, okay, now let's say Ghislaine Maxwell. What is Ghislaine Maxwell going to testify to? What do you think? Ghislaine Maxwell was, remember, she was found guilty. She was found guilty of 4 cases, whatever, of enticing or whatever it was, with involving Epstein. I could read the charges again, but it's not trafficking or anything like that. But it was with Epstein. Okay. What do you think she's going to testify to? What do you think Ghislaine Maxwell is going to testify to? What is she going to testify to? What? There were other people. This was a much greater organization that Israel and Ehud Barak and Les Wexner and Bibi Netanyahu and the CIA were involved. What do you think what do you really believe? And this is important. You've got to answer this question. And nobody's doing this. I've been listening to everybody, and they're talking about this idea that she's going to testify to what? What is it? She's already said, excuse me, are you going to make me a deal now? I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to speak. First of all, you're going to what? Grant me immunity? I'm already doing 20 years or whatever my sentence is. You want to commute that? Have you agreed to commute that sentence? Have you? Are you doing this in public? Why are you telling people that you are going to be commuting that sentence? Why are you telling people? Why are you putting an X on my back? Why are you risking my family's life by saying you're going to want to talk to me? I'm not going to say anything. I've got family here. This is what this was about. It's my family. What do you expect me really to say? And the answer is nothing. So let me ask you something. What do you think is going to happen? And this is important. What do you think is going to happen? And what we're seeing is you've not thought about this. You've not thought about this. And you don't know what the answer is. And nobody knows what the answer is. Nobody's even suggesting what the answer is. I would tell Ghislaine Maxwell, you're not going to say a word. Why should you say a word? Are you going to commute the sentence? You're telling the people, you're telling the world that you're making a deal with her? If you're going to do it secretly. What do you want? Why do they do things in public? What do you think that everybody wants to find out? Today, by the way, I'm going to be on The Great Redacted with Natalie Morris later on today. Natalie's going to be talking about, she's very interested in this Acosta case. What do you think is going to happen? Acosta is going to say, I was directed by the U.S. Attorney's Office or the Department of Justice to secure this deal at the time. Do you think he's okay, Mr. Acosta, tell us what happened. Who put you under pressure? This isn't under pressure. I'm with the Department of Justice at the time. This is what we do all the time. We have prosecutorial discretion. We don't file 90% of the cases that are brought to us. We could drop cases, lower cases. We always have considerations that we don't go and tell people about why we do things. Not everybody is Sammy the Bull. Not everybody goes on TV and is known as a turncoat. We have complete and total discretion. Well, you dropped the charges, or you lowered the charges, or whatever it was, because this fellow was had some type of a connection to Intel. Yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. Correct. So what? Happens all the time. Is that illegal? Is it illegal? No. What do you want? Do you want to know that this dead man, Mr. Epstein, was involved in trafficking, or that he acted on behalf of Les Wexner in trafficking, or the state of Israel, or the U.S. government, or the CIA? What is it that you think you're going to get? And what's happening, if I said to you, I will, listen to me carefully, theoretically, I will give you anything you want. What is it that you want to know, if at all your fantasy? Name the information you would love to prove true? What? That Trump was involved? That Trump wasn't involved? That Joe Biden? What would you like to hear? And they bring this up, and I tell people this because I don't think people necessarily recognize what it is that we are talking about. I don't think people grasp this. See what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? What would you ultimately love to hear? Tell me the thing you would love to hear more than anything else. What is it? Just say whatever you want, whether it's true or not. What do you want? What would you love to say? I would love to show that Ghislaine. What? I don't know. Because you have to kind of give me an idea of what it is that you are looking for and what it is ultimately that would really make you happy. And people don't know because they talk about it in this kind of this dream, so to speak, of, well, I would. So I say to you, most people have had this idea, this wish list, this crazy idea, so to speak, of this Epstein file without being able to say specifically what it is that they want. What is it that they want? What would they want? Let me see something here. Let me see what people are saying. Look at this. This is good. All we get from you is horse blinders. What if it was your child, Lionel? What would you do? Again, this has nothing to do with, it's an interesting question, but that's not what we're talking about. I'm asking questions as to what is it specifically that you think you're going to get. Nobody can answer the question. Because what happens is there's this kind of like this scattered rage, but without saying, well, tell me what do you think is out there? I'm with it. I think most of this, sad to say, is, as far as Epstein, it's done. There's nothing available. There's nothing out there. There's nothing out there because the only problem with this is that you need victims willing to come forward. And if you have any victims, go out and get those women who are willing to speak right now. I think there's a couple I saw who said, I was mistreated or whatever. I don't know if they've settled financially with the Epstein family or the Epstein estate, I should say. I don't know. But what is it that you want? See, people can't tell us. This says, tell us who was with minors. Where's the tapes? Okay, good. Now, who was with minors? Do you need approval of the victims? Yes or no? Anybody? Do you think that is important? This is a matter. Remember, you have very serious issues here. Do you think it is important for us? Do you want to list the names of people? Should they be able to say, don't use my name or use my name? Do you think so? Do you think so? Sweetie Pie says, yes, I guess you should check with him. Hillbilly says, no. We don't tell the victim. We're gonna just remove this. Yeah, you understand this? Susie says, yep, they want left alone. The only people that require justice are the victims, and if they don't want to deal with that, that's on them, and the rest of us need to leave them alone. Well, thank you. I appreciate you bringing that up. But the thing is, what is it that people want? Evidence deleted and tampered with. Well, what do you again? Deleted and tampered with by whom? What do you want? What is it that you want? What you're going to see as we go through this, people don't know what they want. What? Where are the tapes? Are you going to believe anyone? Who is going to be? You could have a special master appointed that says the following items were seized. Film all of this item. We will go through them. we give you a summary. Let's say hard drive number 1, and then it goes through it, and you list any activity. Can you make out who it is? Let's assume we have this instance where we have someone who's having sex. Who is that person with? Is it a minor? Can you make out who's who? Can you authenticate it? Can you authenticate a non-AI, whatever? Now you say facial recognition. Okay, we have this picture. Let's say we have, again, we have this picture. Let's say this one video from whatever peer, I don't know. But let's just assume, and I just give a name so you can identify with it. Not that I'm saying it's him, but let's say Bill Gates. There he is. Bill Gates having sex. Okay? And then you look and you say, who is that? Who is he having sex with? Is it consensual? Is it an adult? Is it a minor? If it's not a minor, and if it is a minor, we go back to my original question. Do you want to reveal minors? You want to reveal the names of this? Is that what you want to do? Do you have to check with them? So let's go through that. Okay, fine. Let's assume somebody says, yep, you know what, that's me as a minor. Let it go. Release it. Release this. Okay. Bill Gates says to you, that's not me. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Now, Unscheduled says, no, you review the tapes and identify the people. Okay, like I said, what do you do, Jew? What do you do, Unscheduled? Tell me what you do. I identify this is Bill Gates. Let's say this one, hypothetically. That's Bill Gates. Let's assume he's with a woman. They're having sex. What do you want to do? Let's assume, I'll give you 2 examples, possibilities. It is a minor or a person of legal majority, somebody over the age of 18. Let's say it's a minor. Let's just assume, again, just for the sake of argument, not that we're saying it's true. What would you like to do with that? You want to put it out? If you put it out, if you possess it, you are guilty of a crime. There is no, unless it can be shown, unless it is in the strictest of prosecutorial handling, you would be advised not to put this thing out, not to even possess it, because it is per se against the law. You know that, right? So I don't want it. You're not going to put this out. We can't put it out. You can't record it. So what do you want to do with it? Now, if you say, I want to go after, let's say, Bill Gates or Bill Clinton or whoever it is, I want to go after them, want to charge them. There probably is no statute of limitations for this. Let me go forward with this. I want you, let's say there's a woman now who's married. This might have been 20 years ago. Maybe she's married, she has family. And then and there might be somebody, but let's say you bring somebody, you said, I want you to go on trial. We're going to prove this case. And you're going to testify that at the age of this, you were under the age of the majority. You were 17, 16, whatever years old, that Bill Gates did this, and blah, blah, blah. Are you willing to do this? And what if she says, yeah, I'll do it. What do you want to do? Have a trial? You want to have a trial? Okay. Now, we got to go through this. You're going to go through a trial. You want to go up against Bill Gates? Would you go up against let's say Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, whoever it is, and the Clintons especially with their alleged list of, answer a question. Would you do that? Would you advise this? Would you? Would you? Vise grips. I don't know what this means. Would you do that? See, because what we're doing is, you can see, nobody's thought any of this through. They say, well, I want the list, and I want to have the list. And, well, tell me, work it through with me. Well, I don't want to think about this. Well, we got to think about this. What is it that you want? What is it that you want? Tell me now. Don't talk about anything else. Answer my question. What do you want to do? I want to, look at this. I'm saying, why are you poo-pooing holding pedos accountable? I'm not. I'm asking you a question. How do you hold them accountable? You've never thought this through. You want to hold them accountable. I'm saying, let's do it. How would you do it? How would you do it? Nobody knows. Look at this. Yes, if I was 13, 14, 15, you bet I'd go against them. You're married, you have a family, you have children. If you want to, okay, good. Good. What if somebody says, I don't, would you advise somebody? Answer yourself a question. If it was your daughter, let's say for some, I don't know, your 13-year-old daughter ran away, became part of some underground group, would you recommend your daughter? You're going to look at this. Unscheduled says, yes, I'm going to tell my daughter, we're going to put you on the stand, and your name and everything about you, everything, your name, your picture. Look at Virginia Giuffre. You're going to do it. I'm going to put you on the stand. Nobody knows who you are. You're living your life. Whatever it was, it's behind you. Again, but it was wrong, and it was wrong. And these people should be held accountable. You're telling me you would let your daughter? Do you understand this? You would let your daughter go up against, somebody talked about, I'm not talking about like stepdads, Bill Clinton, or let's just assume it's somebody of note who would be with Epstein in the first place. Are you telling me that you would say, you bet, let's go? I remember where I was 13, and that's the man who did it. Okay. That would really be something, because a lot of times there might be minimum mandatory sentencing in the line. You would do that? Answer me truthfully. Answer me truthfully. You would do that. You would tell your daughter, do it. Even though you're married now, even though you've got kids, even though nobody knows your name. Maybe, listen, and if so, against these people, you understand this? Deke says, stop it, no one is going to jail. You're not answering the question. Answer my question. What you've got to focus on what it is that you want. You want to name these people, you want justice. Let's talk about how we would do it, what it would look like, how complicated or not it would be. You would have to withstand motions to dismiss. You have to, and they would unleash a torrent of, oh my God, everything. Remember who these people are. Everything, every Facebook comment, I'll bet you God knows what they come up with. Everything. What would you do? What do you think? Someone writes, so the theme here is, let's all go fishing. Justice is too risky. I don't know what that means. You're not answering my question. You're not answering how you would do this. You're not answering my question. Yes, because I want to protect your daughter. You would, good. So I tell you what, you put your daughter on the line and you tell your daughter, Dad, honey, we're going to put you on the line. You're going to go testify against Bill Clinton or Bill Gates or whatever it is. You're going to do it to protect other women. You're going to do it. And I'm going to use it. And whatever happens to you, it doesn't matter. You're my daughter. And I love you, but we have to do the right thing, even though it destroys everything. And they're going to make you out to be the biggest slut that's ever lived. Crazy. You're going to have you're going to have intel people come at you to disprove you. Okay. And they're going to teach you a lesson. And they're going to make people say, oh, remember that one? Remember that guy whose daughter? Yeah, we don't want to be a part of that. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. See, nobody is talking about it. And if you want to do that, that's fine. Do you know how hard it is right now? This is a problem that I have. There are cases I've had where people have had plain old, and I don't use that term lightly, but plain old sexual battery, date rape or whatever it is. You know how hard that is? You know how hard that is? You know what that is? I'm saying it can be done, and it is done. And many times people will just plead guilty because of whatever it is. Sometimes the evidence is so overwhelming. But you've never prosecuted a case. You've never been in court. You have no idea what this is about. And you speak in this fanciful world of, we're going to bring justice. And okay. And whether that, forget whatever. How are you going to go against Hillary Clinton or Comey? And Comey says, I exercise discretion under my position. Nobody bribed me. Now, it would be interesting to note Crossfire Hurricane and deliberate acts of falsified information promoting Trump as being involved in some kind of Russian collusion. That's a different story because that's manufactured. That is definitely doable. Absolutely. Let's go through this. But what's happening is people sit back and they have no idea what they're talking about. None. They just say these things. They just, and it's wonderful. And I appreciate this. Justice. Use words. He's absolute justice. Truth. What is justice and truth? What does that even mean? What kind of system do you think it is? Who? I'll tell you what's not justice is the fact that nobody's even been charged with anything. Nothing. So far during the entire Trump administration, because they were incompetent, the only people who have been charged with anything that I know of have been the state court judges involved in harboring ICE people. Remember that? That's about it. That's all I'm seeing. That's all that it's horrible. Nothing's being done. And the people who are letting you ask James, ask Jim Jordan and these other folks. Ask Jim Jordan about, by the way, his connection to all these. Remember that Ohio State business, that wrestling? Want to go through that? Why aren't they doing anything? Why is Ted Cruz doing nothing? Why? Ask them what their connection to Israeli government, that is, not Israel, the state per se. But could one of the reasons why there's been such a reluctance is because all of these actors have had very serious ties to Israel? Do you think that might be a part of it? Is anybody going to ask any questions? Trump's not going to bring it up. Trump still is, he is so in the pocket, it's not even funny. What are you going to do about that? Have you thought about that? Anybody? So what I'm telling you is, have you thought, do you give this any amount of time in your thinking? Anything? What I'm going to do, what I'm going to suggest is that you work behind the scenes and you do not announce what you're going to do. Stop announcing everything. I might be able to go and talk to Ghislaine Maxwell and make a deal with her and find out what's going on here. And find out. But I'm not going to do it once I tell everybody what's going on. It's almost like they're alerting you. The reason why I think sometimes the fix is you don't tell anybody anything. If you want to go after kids, look at CPS. Look at the unaccompanied minors. Look at what the Biden administration did. Where did these kids go? Look at huge the human sex trafficking, human trafficking. Have you heard about surrogacy trafficking out of Ukraine? And a lot of it's not even just necessarily in this country. But do you really want to do this? Yes. Well, we're not going to do it by going on Fox News and talking to Maria Bartiromo. I don't know where that came from. It would take maybe years, but if you got to have a Justice Department that's devoted to this, and you got people who are not really committed to any kind of political party, and you got to keep your mouth shut. Now, if I can do something, or I can get Bill, because let me tell you something, if I can draw Bill Gates into the open, and I can get him on enough stuff, and somebody says, you know what, this guy has been nothing but trouble, despite his, because there are people who have more money than Bill Gates, people you've never heard of, but we're saying, we're getting tired of him. He's sloppy. He's doing all this stuff about eating bugs with the World Economic Forum. He's doing this, and he's buying land, and he's all this synthetic meat. He's just a pain in the ass. He's hurt us. He has hurt us. And it might be a good idea to let one of them go. They might get together, the cabal, and say, you know what? Why don't we just give up one of ours? Maybe we'll make a deal with the devil. Let's just get rid of Bill Gates. See if we can get rid of him. Sacrifice him, or whoever it is. And maybe we'll do that. But you're not going to do it by going on TV. So let me ask you something. Why are they doing this? Why does our side beat our chest and go on TV and say all this stuff, and then we, like Tulsi Gabbard? Do you like what Tulsi Gabbard is doing? Anybody? You do, don't you? You do, right? You do like Tulsi Gabbard, don't you? Don't you? Say it. You do like Tulsi Gabbard, don't you? Pit Dog says, yep, you like Tulsi Gabbard, don't you? You think she's great, don't you? Al Sanchez, yes, you love her. Brad Opland, you love her. You love Tulsi Gabbard. Talk. Tell everybody what you've got to show the rest of the world that me, Miss Sexy, Yvonne DiCarlo, I'm a warrior, and I'm a surfer, and I'm Hawaii, and I'm a this, and I'm sitting in my car, and I'm talking to you because I'm a podcaster at heart. I'm an entertainer. I want you to find me sexy and smart. And okay, yeah, I'll do. My shtick is patriotism, but I'm a podcaster. It's about me. It's about me going on Fox or going on Joe Rogan. It's about me. And what I'm going to do to get me is to say that I'm going to do these wonderful things. But ultimately, it's about me. And if nothing happens, I don't give a shit. As long as you look at me. Christy Nome, it's about me. And I'm going to tell everybody we're going to go after Comey. We're going to do this. And we've got Crossfire Hurricane. And meanwhile, Pam Bondi is nowhere to be found because she learned. Because it's all about Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard wants you. Tulsi Gabbard has guts. Tulsi Gabbard just talks. Tulsi Gabbard is just, she's talk. Doesn't take guts to say that. What has she done that's gutsy? Nothing. She's just talking. And I'm going to do this. And Maria, I'm going to do this. And by the way, when I'm done with this, I've got my, I'm going to do my podcast or whatever it is. What has she done that's so gutsy? What? She's just talk. They just go on TV and they talk. They're podcasters. They're media people. Kash Patel had guts too when he was talking, and then now he backtracked. And that same thing with Dan Bongino, that pussy, who all of a sudden announces in front of everybody, I'm going to quit. And then he doesn't because he's a little bitch like the rest of these people because it's all about them. And you're being dragged into this. You just love these personalities. You confuse personality and big mouths with guts and bravery. It takes nothing to say that. When these people came after Trump, you never heard their names, but man, they came at him like a ton of bricks. Remember the guy who came from DOJ to bring to prosecute Trump here? No, remember his name? I remember. He had a name, but no, they don't go on Joe Rogan. No, you're falling for this big mouth media stuff. That's what you think is great. Oh, she's got tush. She's got guts. She doesn't have guts. Doesn't take guts to say anything. Jim Jordan, John Kennedy, nothing. And Ted Cruz, who went into office, went into the United States Senate to support and protect Israel, And Tammy Bruce, oh, she's got guts too, who says she works for the greatest country in the world next to Israel. What's the matter with you people? What's the matter? What happened to you? Where did you learn your discernment? When were you so easily fooled by this? I'm dead serious. How is it that you actually fell for this? What happened to you? When did you find yourself in the position of believing this? When did you confuse bluster on social media with actually doing something? Alex Jones has more guts than he does, and Alex Jones isn't even remember. Alex Jones, believe me, he's put everything on the line to get the word out. Alex Jones has more guts than Tulsi Gabbard. Absolutely. Tulsi Gabbard's not risking anything. What? She's a DNI. What does that mean? I don't know. You can't be fooled by these big mouths anymore. You can't be taken by these bullshit peddlers. And that's what you are. Not you are. They are. You got to stop doing this. You've got to stop saying that, because all you love is just great rhetoric. But I ask you, well, how are you going to do this? And you get upset. Wow, what if it was your daughter? You don't even know how to, because when you get frustrated, because a lot of times you don't know what you're and I understand you're frustrated, but is this an area you've given any thought to? Do you just weigh into things that you figure, well, I'm going to talk about this now? It's the way that people now are experts on methylene blue. All of a sudden, overnight, they're experts on methylene blue. They don't even know what the hell it is. Doesn't matter, because we're like murmurations of birds and starlings. We just go this way, and then we go this way, and then we're going to talk about, who was it? Hunter Biden. What's that about? Did you see that? Hunter Biden saying, Hunter Biden's made a lot of sense. I mean, he's, why he's kind of irrelevant, but it was a great diversion. It was wonderful. How about that CEO cam, that kiss cam at Coldplay? They love that. Low-hanging fruit. Let's just talk about it. Stuff that makes gut bucket, gut feel. I mean, it's funny stuff. By the way, he gets more viewers and more than anybody. No, a couple of writers. I mean, it's so pared down. It's so, and we can talk about that. But deep down inside, why don't you ever talk about Ukraine? Why don't you ever talk about Ukraine? Why don't you ever talk about Maidan? Why don't you ever talk about the coup? Why don't you talk about the Newlands and the others who were still there? The Institute for the Study of War and the Jack Keane. Why don't you talk about that? Why don't you talk the possibility of the whole idea about Minsk and how? What about that? What about it? Have you talked about that? How about the fact, do we ever talk about whether we are paying, what is our connection with Israel? Do you ever talk about that? You might a little bit more, but Fox News doesn't. You're not even, you're told just to ignore that completely. Why is that? Why don't you ever talk about AI? AI should scare the hell out of you because it's not sexy and it takes a lot. There's a lot of moving parts to AI. It's very deep. You got to be almost like on another level to understand the notion of consciousness and self-awareness. But we're not equipped to do this because of our poor educational system and because we have been sitting back in our beanbag chair for so long looking for these very simple things like Epstein, and you've been talking about the black book. You don't even know what the black book is. There is no black book. There's no client list because you don't have clients. But you've been saying this because it's very easy to say it. It's very easy as part of this routine, as part of this drumbeat, pitchforks and torches. And what I've been trying to tell you is that, do you know what you're talking about? And when somebody gets pushed to the corner, they say, well, what if it's your daughter? And that's like, this is the golden rule kind of thing. Oh, yeah, what if it was you? Because most people don't know what they're talking about. They react viscerally. Politics to them is visceral. They talk about they like Trump or they don't like Trump. They don't like him. What does that mean? Like him? I talked to somebody on WABC today who said, what about the fact that Trump kicked Woody Guthrie out of his apartment? Saying, no, he didn't, but he believed it. And when I tried to hold him accountable, he got all upset. He got very upset. People don't like to have their worldview. So let me ask you something. What is it that we stand for? What is it? Are we conservatives? Are we right-wing? Are we Republicans? What? I see it all the time in New York. They talk about Zoran Mamdani. They don't say anything. Well, what are we going to do about him? I don't know. But if we say enough trash about him, somehow it will convert into votes. We'll just trash him. Call him a commie. Call him this. Call him that. However, a very interesting thing about how he knows perhaps of AOC. They might have a little bit of a history. I don't know. Word on the street. Who knows? But see, that's where we are. Because social media, we just have this echo chamber and we just say stuff and that somehow converts into whatever. How many people do you know still talk about communism versus Marxism and they can't define what, they don't even know what that means. They're like, well, I think you mean a welfare state. I don't know, whatever. See, this is the thing we need to do. We need more education. We need to really tighten our intellectual belts and stop reacting. And life is not filling in a little line of some, online chat, thing, just to say something with an emoticon or an emoji or something pithy or something to get the attention. Because that's what 99% of it is. It's nothing. And it's wonderful to read some stuff. There's some good people out there. Benny Johnson, another one, absolutely uses the word pederast to define, I think, pederast. Has it all wrong. Has no idea what's going on. Remember how you were taken by, you're like Jordan Peterson. Still don't know what that's about. I have no clue. And by the way, little inside baseball, wait till you see how they're going to be turning on Joe Rogan pretty soon. Because they want to dethrone him. Because Joe's becoming too much of the Joe's going to say, okay, where am I? Am I political? Am I the cool UFC guy who likes to do the ice water? By the way, ice water plunges, absolutely no benefit to anybody of any sort, but it looks cool. And you got a hell of an ice bill you got to come up with. But it's one of those things that we just all of a sudden we say, hey, this is great. Remember when people all of a sudden hated gluten? This is gluten-free. I'm gluten-free. Didn't even know what gluten was. But people jumped on the bandwagon. Because that's what this is. The bandwagon. So, the question is, can you bring justice? Yes, but it's really hard. And I went through it. What justice system are you going to do? You want to have special prosecutors? What about the court? People don't want it. They'll say things like, I want truth. Say, don't give me this bullshit about truth again. Not that again. I want truth. Okay. When you don't know what to do, you say truth. Whose truth? What does that mean, truth? What does that mean? I want justice. That's even harder to understand. What does that mean? For the longest time, we have been the party of slogans. We have the better slogan, better placards, better memes, better hashtags. Really good at that. We're great at rallies and we're great at, the left they're just obstructionist. The left is pretty diffuse and fractionalized. They really don't have a position. They really don't, because the left, for the most part, a lot of them are not into this transgender stuff. That's just a certain group. Not everybody is. A lot of them are, but not really. So your mission today is to sit back and think, what am I about? What am I about? What do I want? Am I just a part of some scrum? Am I just in a barroom fight? Am I just in a stadium chanting something that other people have? You're repeating their chants. You don't even know what you're watching a cricket game for the first time and you're wondering, what am I even saying? I don't know what I'm saying. Justice. I don't know what justice. What do you mean? I don't know. How do you prosecute these cases? What is it that you do? What is it? And how much of it is a diversion as to what's really going on? Because believe it or not, the real stuff is not about this, about blackmail. It's about the money laundering and this dark, deep money that makes the world go round. That's it. So listen to what I'm saying. It's great to be angry and to come up with pithy things, truth and justice, but this is we've got to be adults. We're not kids anymore. Understand, what is it that I want? How do I get it? What's the likelihood of it happening? Don't lament as to who's corrupted. Ask, what do I want? How do I get this? What is my goal here? Now, if you just want to complain about stuff, great. You're in the right place. Social media, and this is perfect. You can complain all day long. I don't want to complain. I want to get down to brass tacks. I want to ask questions. How do you do this? How do we fix this? I don't want to just comment and make jokes about it all day long. It's okay to a point. What is this really about? And ask this question. Why do we still know the truth about Virginia Giuffre? Who says she committed suicide? Who says that? How do we know that? Where are the tox reports? Anybody out there? Anybody does anybody have any interest in this? And would somebody please tell Alan Dershowitz, shut up. Shut up. Every time I turn around, he's saying something. Well, they might have the list, but you might be disappointed. Why is he doing this? Because he's like Tulsi Gabbard. He is addicted to it. He has been in the public eye forever. He joneses for it. He does more to screw things up than you can imagine. Why does he do it? Why? I'm telling you right now for the umpteenth time, Alex Jones has more guts than Tulsi Gabbard. She risks nothing. By saying something, by going on Maria Bartiromo, and we have this, and we have been able to show that by virtue of the documents, that Crossfire Hurricane was in fact we already knew that. Has Tulsi Gabbard ever told you anything that you didn't know? Ever? I mean, it sounds like, well, I didn't know that Obama. Yes, we knew this. It's the same thing. It's a limited hangout. It's like the Pentagon Papers, Ellsberg. We knew this, but they give you the impression like, wow. And they want you to think, wow, we've really exposed all this. No, we haven't. We haven't exposed anything. What do we know? We've known this forever, since the beginning. Since the beginning. Since 2015, actually before that. So anyway, that's that. Think about what I've said. It's very difficult sometimes to understand this. It's very difficult. I'm done cheerleading. I'm done saying the same thing everybody else says. You don't need me to say, isn't that great? It's just as it. No, you don't need me for that. I want to know, how do we do it? What's the chance of us getting it done under this administration? And if we can't get it done, let's move on to something that we can change. Rather than just keep saying this bullshit over and over again. Are you going to fix it or not? Pam Bondi, are you going to fix this or not? And do me a favor. Last word, stop announcing what you're going to do. Stop telegraphing to the entire world what you're going to do. All right, my friends? Good. I know you'd see it my way. Follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Follow us also on our Lionel Legal channel. We did a live this morning at about midnight, 12:30. We do a lot of those early, so make sure you're subscribed in case you're up late. Don't forget WABC overnight, and subscribe here to Lionel Nation. Thank you so much for being a part of this, my friends. Remember, don't give up hope. Just focus what you want and make sure you know what the hell you're talking about. And in the meantime, remember this final word. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dad.